go. Start this thing up. Not bad. 60 pounds of oil pressure, nice. Yeah.
Watch the oil pressure.
Yep.
I'll hold it while you do it. Go ahead.
I already did. I already went in there.
You gotta open it though.
Slowly.
Slowly. That's. Watch the oil pressure. What's the water temperature?
180.
Perfect.
Nice.
The last time or two we took it out, it was not right, and
Yeah.
that's why the
That
carburetor
carb was
all
messed up?
fucked
So what,
It's not, it was getting rich and soggy and everything, remember?
yeah, I remember that.
We were trying to run it and it was laying down. And
Right. Yeah, I'll include a video of that. I got a video the last time we had it at the track 2 years ago. Woo.
Yeah.
2 years ago, literally.
0.58 miles per hour to a slower 14. Line plane.
October 2 years ago. Steaming. So wait, why was that fuel vapor that was coming out of?
fuel vapor. It was coming
It's
out
residual?
of that one too. I never noticed it, but
Huh. So we're good now.
yeah,
Weird.
you want to take it.
Well, that's what happens when stuff sits, right? It gaskets and everything get messed up.
I forgot to close it. You always close it before you shut it off, and I forgot, see?
Oh, so you let it build the pressure, but
See,
then
I
you
can
shut
do
it.
from here too, see?
Right. Oh, I got you.
Once it's built up, you before you stop it, you close it. Because if you don't, then when you go to reprime it the next
You got
time,
nothing.
there's no oil.
Yeah, right.
So now I can't prime it.
Right. Now the other advantage to the accumulator too, right, is if you were to lose pressure under power,
That's why you
will,
have it.
Yeah, because the way the air pressure
Priming
works
the
on
engine
each
is
side, right?
secondary to if I lose oil pressure because it fails in the engine,
Right.
oil leak or whatever, it's going
Or
to
a
shut
broken
the
oil
engine.
pump
It's going to
engine,
pump
yeah.
oil in.
Right.
And this is a low oil pressure
Oh.
sensor. It'll shut if the pressure drops below 20. This
Yep.
shuts it in. The engine shuts off.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Oh, no, maybe it's not 20. It's about 15.
15
Yeah.
shuts
It's
off.
an oil shut off.
Wow, that's smart.
So
Save your engine.
yeah, it's all about that.
Ran this thing out of gas. There's more in there. What's up, guys? So what you just saw there was me and my dad trying to get this puppy running right. It's been a long time, man, a long time. You might have caught that in that clip. This thing's so damn loud. Can't really, probably had a hard time hearing what we were talking about, but this car has literally not run in about 2 years. 2 years to today. We brought it to the track about 2 years ago, late October. Got there for like the last last test and tune on the weekend, and frankly, it had been a long time since we had it running before that too, because had been sitting, had some problems and stuff that we had sorted out with the ignition system, cracked distributor cap, and basically we got it out, and we still couldn't really get it running right, and we were really pressed for time. It was like the last day of the year, no time to get it done, so we never really got it running right. And recently, we had to take it out of our trailer to move something else into there. So with it sitting in the shop here, we're like, well, it's a perfect opportunity to get it back in commission. You know, hopefully try and make it out to the track a few times next year. Something just kind of have fun with it. I mean, thought about, competing or something like that. Maybe someday in the future. But for now, just kind of enjoying it. But this is a really cool piece here. Pretty unique, if I do say so myself. My dad built this car when I was a little kid, probably roughly 15 years ago. It's a 67 Firebird, well, originally, with, he bought it as a roller. Already had some of the chassis prep pretty much done. It's got a full 8-point cage. It's good to an 850. It's an 850 cage. You see, it's got the crossbars. Goes back there. The whole chassis is back half, as you can probably tell. So it's got a ladder bar rear end in it. It's a Dana 60 fuel cell in the trunk. You can see those nice big wheel tubs right there. Nice battery in the back. It's got everything it needs to pass tech. Got the electric kill switch in the back. It's got wheelie bars because if it needs, well, when you really launch it hard, it can do some pretty gnarly wheel stands, so pretty important you get those so you're not laying the friggin' back bumper on the ground. You can see in there, it's got a ladder bar rear end with, I think they're Penske shocks, Dana 60 rear end, nice fat sucker. You can see the whole frame and chassis prep under here, all the damn rubber. It's got an electric fuel pump right there. It goes up into the fuel cell, goes to a filter over there. It's nice. So, I mean, it's not the fanciest drag car in the world, can get a lot more complicated than this. A lot of stuff these days now has like a 4-link rear end that's fully adjustable. We don't have any of that. But this car does have some nice little trick stuff, so you can tell it's all stripped out. Got these nice metal door cards, Lexan glass frame. It's got a window net, all for, tech and stuff. Nice dash. See, there's the writing on the window from last time we had it out 2 years ago. It's got an air shifter too. There's a CO2 bottle. See the cage. Not the prettiest cage. We didn't do it. The car was already in the car when he got it. Maybe someday in the future we might clean it up, but we hardly use the damn thing, so who knows. It's pretty Spartan in here. Bare bones. This is a bracket car, by the way. So you can see we got this delay box up here. Now, so this car, you're probably wondering, what kind of times does this car run? Well, when you had it dialed in, running right back in the day, it was running, its best times were about a 940. And, today, people, a lot of people with all the stuff on the internet and everything, you might say, well, 940 isn't that crazy or whatever, but there's a few reasons why that's pretty good on this car. Well, so first of all, it's a bracket car. So when I say it can do 940, if this thing's dialed in to do a 940, it can very consistently run 940s. it's set up, you know, every time you get out there, you dial in your light, you get that, you know, your reaction time is good, you're going to get out there and run at 940. So there's a lot of trick stuff going on here with this car, though. First of all, and the one thing that throws a lot of people off, frankly, is this is a genuine Pontiac motor. When people see how this car runs, they're always like, oh, it's got a big block in there, blah, 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 you know. See, you know, factory-based Pontiacs were never really known to run that fast. You know, I mean, today with all the stuff you hear about, you know, street outlaws and all that shit, Big Chief, you might think that's not true, but his car isn't very original Pontiac based. It's got a lot of aftermarket parts. What's really cool about this motor right here is it's almost entirely Pontiac. I mean, the block is a 73 Super Duty 455 SD block. You can tell it's even a factory water pump. The crank is a 421 Super Duty, so it's D-stroked. It's about a 434 because it's 30 over as well. And on top of that, though, it still uses a factory crankshaft, which was forged from the factory, which is pretty wild. Factory forged I-beam connecting rods as well from the 73 Super Duty. And then the pistons are an aftermarket, they're forged Venolia. But I mean, you can start to see the gist here that, you know, there's a lot of factory parts in this thing. And, you know, based on that time slip, you can probably guess the kind of power it makes if you're familiar with drag racing. It's roughly about 700 to 800 at the crankshaft, which is really impressive for, you know, basically, you know, all stock Pontiac parts. I mean, granted, you know, of course, it has headers, which are those are pretty cool. You may notice the rear tube actually goes around the frame rail. You see, there's not enough space to get them equal length if you were to run it straight down there. So when my dad built these, he built these headers himself, mocked them all up, and then had them welded by somebody. But you can see what he did was you had that back tube run around the frame, so you get that full, you know, equal length effect going on. So what else? Let's see what else is in the motor. It's got Venolia forged pistons. The camshaft is it a comp grind? I don't remember. Let's see. I think the stickers on the car might tell us. Yeah, it's a comp cam. It's a custom comp cam. It's a solid roller, so it's got adjustable roller rockers under there, which we actually adjusted nice the last time we had this thing out. It's got a Holley 1150 Dominator. Nice piece there. You could see we were just trying to get it running correctly. The valves which operate the float bowl and the carb were kind of gummed up basically, and they were screwing the thing up. It wasn't running right. So now it is, which is nice. And that's the manifold's single plane unit. I think it's an Edelbrock unit. The heads are factory 455 Super Duty that my dad ported himself. So, I mean, you can see pretty much all the main guts, the hard guts of the motor are all original Pontiac. I mean, and to put that in perspective, this motor in 1973 made stock like maybe 300 horsepower. So 700-800 on same basic block, you know, same basic motor basically. And now, I mean, some of you here might even think, you'd probably guess the compression's got to be real high in this thing, right? Not even, man. It's the compression's actually only about, if you can believe it, a little under 10. It's somewhere in the 9s, 9 to 1. So I mean, the funny part is as set up as this is, it's actually pretty conservative. There's probably a lot more power to be had if this was a, you know, 11, 12, maybe even 13 to 1 compression motor, and it could be done. I mean, it runs on race gas. It could take it. It's really a simple setup. You know, it's got a little electric water pump here. So I mean, it's amazing because most people never thought, you know, back in the day that a Pontiac, an all Pontiac like this could really be fast. And everybody's swapping in a big block or, you know, different Chevy motors basically. But this stuff, man, if you knew how to run it right, it really had a lot of potential. You know, it was real cool, you know, that my dad was able to do that. He learned a lot of that stuff from some guys, you know, who really pioneered Pontiac drag racing and stuff, reading books and things. And, really worked it out to make a potent setup. It's I mean it's really pretty simple. You can see it's even got factory front suspension basically. Just a regular radiator out of some late model production car. Nothing too crazy. Got remote oil filters. It's nice. This switch right here, my dad was actually telling, I might have got this on video, is actually set up to kill the ignition if it goes below about 20 pounds of oil pressure. Not bad. So the overflow. Really a simple setup though. For running 940s. And to think that it's all Pontiac is pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable. Some of you out there who are younger probably won't really know what I'm talking about, but the Pontiacs back in the day, especially one as stock as this, were not very fast. Not very fast. So this is it's a pretty impressive setup that way. So it's got no power steering, by the way, either. See the box down there, but no pump or anything. Just alternator. Oh, yep, real simple. You see it's got a crank trigger down there. Let's see, what else am I missing? Oh, it's got oil accumulator. I think my dad actually explained that. Maybe I'll throw that video right here. Yeah, it's got this nice hood scoop. See, the whole front end's fiberglass. Fake bumper right here. Fake headlights. But I mean, overall, it's not a super light car either. Probably weighs, I think with my dad in it, he's like 250-ish. Thing weighed like somewhere around just over 3,000 pounds. So it's probably about 2850 dry. I mean, it's a full steel chassis, as you can see. Nothing too fancy going on. Oh, it also does have, just forgot, it's got a line lock. Got the Transbrake. Those of you who aren't familiar with the Transbrake, it's a cool drag racing setup. It basically locks the transmission. Oh, I forgot, it's a Turbo 400 built by, who built it? Let's see. Built by, is it on the outside here? I can't remember. Well, so it's a built Turbo 400. Yeah, by Select Transmission, I think. It's got a Transbrake in it, which was what I was getting at, which is pretty wild, pretty cool. It's still a 3-speed, by the way. So what the Transbrake does is it basically locks the car into forward and reverse at the same time in the transmission. And it's got a real high stall converter. So you just load the friggin' thing up. You could launch redline if you wanted to, all the way up to $7,000 or so. Pin it at 7 and you let go of that brake. Set your delay time with the box. And once that delay is gone, after you've let go of that button, the friggin' thing is gonna, if it grabs traction, it's gonna throw the front wheels up in the air and you're gonna be staring down the sky. But yeah, so that's a real cool setup. Allows you to launch really hard, launch really consistently. Allows you to load up the engine, so it's not like launching with a clutch. Even though you rev it up with a clutch, you're not loading up the driveline. You're starting it. Everything in the transmission, everything else isn't really up to speed yet. Whereas with this, you got everything loaded up at $7,000, whatever. It's holding the transmission, holding with the Transbrake, and you let go, and it just hits all it hits the rear tires with basically all the power. Takes off. What else we got in here? Let's see. We got the EGT probe over there. Little thermo temperature probe wire. Yeah. So not too complicated. Just a back half ladder bar rear end with the old Pontiac motor in there. Stock old Pontiac. Stock. Yeah, it's not too complicated. Oh, for those of you who, familiar with different drag racing stuff, maybe Street Outlaws, this car would be considered a big tire car. It's, these are 15 by, 14 and a half by 32 by 15. Nice big suckers. So that's 14 and a half wide, 15-inch rim, 32 and a half tall, which is fucking big. Real big. Forgot it also has Harlan Sharp roller rockers, adjustable roller rockers, and K-motion valve springs. But yeah, I mean, other than the top end stuff, the cam and the pistons, this is really Pontiac, all Pontiac, man. I mean, granted, all the parts that are Pontiac have been race prepped. I mean, the block is solid filled with concrete halfway up, which, you know, that's not totally necessary. It wouldn't prevent it from running the numbers it does or anything. It's just more like a reliability thing, and keeps more of the water just at the top of the cylinder. What else? What was I thinking? Yeah, the heads are ported by my dad. Hand ported. Yep. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Some of you watching this who don't know drag racing might think this is pretty crazy, but as far as drag cars go, this is a pretty simple setup, frankly. You know, a lot of guys might be running a whole tube front end, you know, and basically a complete cut-up chassis, and whereas this car is overall pretty original, except for the back half and the motor and stuff, and it's really not a very complex setup. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my little car check of the old 67 Firebird drag car, and I'll catch you guys next video.